So how do you reattract someone to you after they became distant from you? Whether you're a guy or a girl, it all revolves around one simple thing. And this thing isn't exactly the same thing as what every other dating coach suggests, to text them this or text them that, take a picture with a bunch of girls to make her jealous, take a picture with a bunch of guys to make him jealous. It's actually none of that. It's very simple. It all revolves around one thing, your feeling. Now bear with me for just a second. When someone breaks up with someone else or is no longer interested in someone else, when you're on the receiving end of it, you tend to feel very, anxious. How come they left me? What did I say wrong? And then immediately your brain goes, okay, that's happened. What do I do to get them back? I want to immediately text this thing, say this thing, do this thing, pretend this or that just to get them back. But here's a very powerful tip for you, and it's very simple. It's not exactly simple to achieve it. The idea, at least, is simple. You have to reach the point where you're okay without them. You want them, but you have to feel like you are okay without them. Now, here's the problem. When you resort to texts and, post this on my social media, do this just so that I look a certain way, like what most of these dating coaches are suggesting. It's cool and all, but you're actually doing it from a position of lack. You're doing it from the position of you being a fan and them being a celebrity. You're over here, they're over here. And that's the vibe you're giving off. You see, man, no matter who you are, no matter what abilities you are, no matter how good of an actor you are, you can't act in a way that is inconsistent with your vibe. Sure, you may be able to, like for a few minutes, but then they'll be able to pick up on it. Your vibe introduces you before you even speak. If you're feeling like you really need this person and you hold them in such a high regard to the point where they're on a pedestal, they're all the way up here and you're beneath them, you're treating them like a celebrity and you're a fan, that's not gonna work. No amount of you listening to whoever is going to work for you, because in the back of your mind, you're doing it because you want them so much and you're in such a needy, desperate state. That's why if someone leaves you, the best thing that you can do is just purposely distance yourself from them, because here's what's gonna happen. When you distance yourself from that person, you're actually with time going to start feeling like it's not that big of a deal that they're not around anymore. Sure, you want them, but you don't really need them. You're not really dependent on their validation, on their approval. And so let's just say you were texting someone, whether you're a guy or girl, for like 3 weeks, which it happens a lot, especially nowadays with like online dating and stuff. And all of a sudden they either just ghosted you, or all of a sudden the texts got more, short, they took longer to reply, all these things. Typically, in the back of your mind, what you want to do to fix it would be, oh, what's wrong? Oh, this, oh, that. You want to text them more for them to make sure that you're interested so you can just lock them down. Well, that's the opposite of what you should do. What you should do instead is recognize that there's a pattern without judging it, recognize the pattern. They're texting me less. They're showing less of an interest in me. They're distancing themselves. You know what? I want to distance myself from this person. Maybe if they send me a text or a meme that doesn't really warrant a response, I'm just not going to reply to them. I'm going to purposely distance myself, not because I'm an asshole, but because I want to feel like I'm okay without them. And so you do this just for enough days, even sometimes, if you haven't really been talking for too long. Just after a few days, you're going to be like, I'm chilling. I'm cool. I'm free. I'm good by myself. Sure, I want them, but I don't really need them. They're just another person. They're completely flawed, just like I am. They're full of flaws, full of things that I don't even like about them. Sure, I like them, but they're flawed. And so recognizing that and purposely distancing yourself from this person is gonna put you in a vibration of non-neediness. Once you're in a vibration of neediness, and I don't care if you think this is a bunch of woo-woo or a bunch of bullshit, but it's actually true. You being in that vibration, you can't fake it, and the other person picks up on it. And when they pick up on it, they have leverage over you because they can basically do anything to get you to do what they want, to give them attention, to do whatever. And they have power over you because they know they make you feel a certain way. They know they affect you so much. However, when you purposely distance and push them away a bit, and they feel that, the energy dynamic starts to neutralize. And that's the perfect spot to be in if you want to reattract this person. If it's more neutral, like as the days go by and you're feeling more and more at ease with the fact that they're not here anymore and they're not texting you as much anymore, even though you really like them, but them, instead of feeling at first like you were kind of bombarding them or you were kind of too easily available, now all of a sudden, you're not that accessible. You're now more busy, you're kind of pushing them away, you're taking longer to respond, you're being more focused on your goals, you're prioritizing yourself more, you're saying yes to yourself more and no to things that don't serve you more. So guess what's gonna happen? Usually what happens is, if they're curious enough and they liked you enough, they're gonna wanna find that out. So they're gonna come reach back out And when they do, they're gonna notice a different vibe about you. Now, why exactly is the vibe different? How come it's not the same as, making up a story or doing a tactic or posting something on your social media to make them jealous, to make them feel a certain way about you, to get them to think about you, which is so fucking cringe. The reason why is because you have now distanced yourself from them, so now you're legitimately okay with them not being in the picture. You're totally fine, you're chilling, you're doing your own thing. And so they sense that. They sense that you're not needy, and the fact that you're not needy is so attractive. And I'm not even talking about it on a logical perspective. I'm talking from a perspective of energy. Everything is energy. When we feel, whether this is with friendships or relationships, when we feel that there's another person who's so dependent on us and they're so, they're pedestalizing us and they're acting non-naturally, non-normally in a way that's just very awkward, a way that's very overwhelming, you kind of get disgusted in a way, I don't want to deal with this person. They're just too much. They're too needy. But if you see that person becoming better in their life and not needing you anymore, you're gonna be like, oh wait, what changed? Same thing here. You start prioritizing yourself, and without resorting to any bullshit tactics, you're starting to feel better. And now because you feel better about yourself, they can feel that energy. You're no longer stuck on getting them and just locking them down and making them yours and just making them text, because in the back of your mind, you're like, oh my God, it would be so nice if they texted me. Oh my God, it would be so nice if they called me. Oh my God, it would be so nice if I spent time with them. Oh my goodness. You start giving yourself these anxious thoughts, but instead be like, you know what? It's good that they backed off. Now it's just a test to see, are they interested? If they are, they'll reach back out once I kind of push them away, and I'll actually start feeling better about myself because I'm no longer dependent on them. Or I'm not gonna hear from them again, which is just as cool, because that just means they're not that interested and I walked away with my dignity. So if you think about that from the back of your mind, distancing yourself from the thing that you're super attached to, which I know this could be really hard, but when you have the discipline to do that, you build your own strength. And listen, when you build your own strength like that, you then become conditioned to not necessarily need that from someone. You don't need all that attention from someone. You don't need someone else to make you feel important about yourself. You don't need someone else to be there in the picture texting you all the time, because in the back of your mind, you're just as good without them, because you proved it to yourself, because you distance yourself from them on purpose. So if you notice, if someone's being distant towards you, that's the best way to reattract them. You don't reattract someone by stupid bullshit tactics. They could work for 1 or 2 times, sure, on the surface, but down below in the roots, you still really need them from an energetic perspective. You're still very dependent on them for your happiness. If that's the position you're in right now, don't judge it. Just distance yourself from them. The days and weeks are gonna go by and you're gonna start feeling better without them, because you're kind of withdrawing from them. Just like a drug addict. If he or she stops the drug at first their body, goes through withdrawal. They start to sweat, they start to, shake, all these things. But then later, they're fine, because their body, weathered the storm of the withdrawal to the point where they can become normal. Their body now is normal. It doesn't need the drug anymore. Sure, in the back of their mind, they might be like, you know what? It might be nice to try some of this drug or that drug, but I don't need it. You see what I'm saying? It's not like an addictive thing anymore. You're not addicted anymore. You want them, like, oh yeah, that'll be nice if they message me, but you don't need them. So push them away, do your own thing. And when I say push them away, I don't want you thinking that this is a way for you to be an asshole, because this is not what I'm trying to, preach. I'm just trying to preach to you for you to get yourself back. You get your life back. You get your priorities back in check. They're not prioritizing you anymore. Totally fine. You start prioritizing yourself and watch what happens. They're distant now. Why would you reward that? You know what? Here's another way you could think of it. Start acting like the person who naturally achieves what he wants with a potential relationship or a person they're interested in. You'd be like, are they gonna be worried about this? Are they gonna keep texting this person back and forth? Are they gonna be this mess, this anxious mess that's just always gonna text this person back and forth? No, they're not gonna do any of those things. Sure, at first you're kind of faking it, but then later you're gonna start developing the habits, because that's gonna become part of who you are. Then you're actually truthfully not gonna need them anymore. And that's the best position to be in. When you're non-needy, you're just chilling, you're doing your own thing. And if someone comes along, you enjoy it. You're not gonna latch on to that. You're still going to enjoy it, but you're still just as good by yourself. So put yourself in that position by pushing the other person away if you see that they're not reciprocating, or they're no longer attracted to you, or no longer acting like they're attracted to you, because that's what a person who respects themselves would do, right? You act like that person until you become that person, and then is your only chance of reattracting them. And then if they want to talk to you again, if they want to meet you again, then you get to decide whether or not you want to see them. It's not the other way around. You get to decide whether or not they're worthy of your time. You get to decide whether or not you're going to let them back in your life. And once you're in the position of being able to choose, you choose, no, I want this person, I don't want this person. That's the position of power that you're going to be in. So just look at it that way. Don't look at it as if it's a game. Look at it as if it's cleansing for you, kind of like spiritual cleansing, and watch this stuff that's going to happen afterwards in just a short amount of time if you stay disciplined and focused on your goals and focused on yourself more than the other person.